I'm not always like a mature and responsible person in responding to that. And I know that about myself, and yet it still happened.
Hi, welcome to Simply Intentional. My name is Katie. I'm on a journey to live my most fulfilling life and hopefully inspire others to do the same. Come along as I figure out my 30s one day at a time, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my adventures.
Hey dudes, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about what we do when we mess up, because we are not perfect. I am not perfect, certainly. And that's what I want to chat about today, is when we mess up. If you're new here, welcome. We talk about life. We talk about finding values, finding intention, just, white girl with a nose ring rambling on the internet. If you're returning, I'm so happy to have you here. We are going to continue on talking about being humans and having failings and how we become the kind of person we want to be. So let's get into it. We're not always going to behave in ways that we're proud of. We are going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to react with unhealed parts of ourselves, and we're never going to be perfect. And quite frankly, perfect shouldn't be the goal. And there's a couple of pieces to this that I want to get into today. But the first thing is just understanding that you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be fully healed, and that's okay. Recently, I behaved in a way that I'm not proud of. It wasn't like catastrophic or anything like that, but I got called out on it, got called a mean girl, and they weren't wrong. And that's what I want to talk about today. I always want to be the kind of person that is understanding and that gives people grace and recognizes people's best intentions. I don't want to go out into the world assuming ill intent, and that's what I did in that scenario, and not proud of it. One thing that, and I know this about myself, is that I can be quite petty when I get upset, or if I feel like my friends are upset. I'm not always like a mature and responsible person in responding to that. And I know that about myself, and yet it still happened. And so it's gonna happen to you, right? We are all on this journey of trying to be good people, live with integrity, live with intention, be the kind of person that is a good community member and a good friend, and also the kind of person that you can count on. And I wasn't. And I needed to own up to that. Gave you some good content for this week, got a blog post that goes with it, linked down below, but I had to recognize that about myself. And yes, I felt bad about it, but I also saw it as an opportunity to acknowledge that about myself, to recognize where that's coming from, and to work on it, because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I fundamentally believe that most people are good, most people are doing their best, and they deserve grace to have the space to do that. Much the same way I hopefully also deserve grace for my foibles, right? And so I'm taking this as an opportunity to understand where that's coming from and to hopefully maybe for once give some helpful advice on how to deal with it when it happens to you. There's two ways that you're going to end up doing things that you're not proud of, right? You're either going to do something that really only affects you, where you're going to make a mistake, or you're going to behave in a certain way that isn't really aligning with what you want to do, your goals, the values you're trying to build into your life, that kind of stuff. And that's easy enough to sort of address in its own way. You can acknowledge where it's coming from, sort of sit down and think about, like, why did I react this way? What about that interaction or that experience led me to making the decisions that I did? Why did I react that way? What caused it? And then you need to make a plan to not react that way next time, to understand why, what about that situation made you feel that way, and then make a plan so that the next time it happens, because you will get upset the next time it happens, and you can't go through life avoiding things that are going to trigger unhealed reactions in yourself. So you need to make a plan of what that's going to look like and how you're going to address that the next time, and how you can maybe pause and reflect and think about how you would react in a more calm and more rational manner, and more in line with the kind of person that you're wanting to be and the kind of energy that you want to put out in the world, right? Because if you're putting out really insane energy, it's going to get reflected back on you, right? So make that decision, figure out how you can make an action plan moving forward, and then recommit to that and ponder those situations and think about that situation that made you react that way, because you're going to get upset when you think about it again. I am still cringing at my behavior. you need to make that action plan, and you need to think about the stuff, and you're going to get emotional, and that emotionalness, you're going to work with it, and you're going to react to it, and you're going to work through that on your own, and you're going to get to a place where you don't have the same reaction, and where you can use whatever techniques work for you, whether it be taking a breath, pausing, whatever it is, and then addressing it in a more calm and rational fashion. The second instance where you're going to find this happening is when you react poorly to a situation and it affects other people. And you might hurt someone's feelings, you might say something inconsiderate or rude or whatever it might be. And you still have to take all those steps. You have to figure out why you reacted that way and what caused that and what steps you're going to take in the future to not do that. But you also need to take accountability for what you did, because that's going to be a huge piece of it. Taking accountability, saying like, hey, I behaved in an irrational or whatever way it was, and this is, I'm sorry. You have to apologize. You have to mean it. You have to mean it. And then you have to take accountability. Like, hey, I reacted to this situation because of this. It's not an excuse. It's the reason. And I'm sorry. And I'm not going to do that again. You didn't deserve that. Take accountability for what you've done. And then make sure that you also understand that the other person might not forgive you. They may just find that you're a unsafe person in certain scenarios, and you're gonna have to live with that, right? And so you need to be accountable to yourself. As always, I've always talked about that, being the kind of person you can count on, being a trustworthy person for yourself, but you also build that with other people, and it's very easy to erode that and then perhaps not get that back or have it take a long time. And that's something that you will have to accept. So keep that in mind. And just make sure that you're building tools for yourself to live a life in alignment with your own values, to live with integrity, and to not react viciously or emotionally when provoked, because that isn't helpful a lot of the time. And for me, what I've really taken away from this is, as I said at the beginning, like, I really want to be the kind of person that offers people grace and offers people the space to be emotional without reacting emotionally myself when they're just trying to be vulnerable and I take it personally, because that's bad. That's not good. I don't want to be that guy. And I also have been pondering this idea of being the most healed version of yourself, or, we have this idea that we're going to get there and then we're going to be this perfect person and everything is going to be good and we're never going to make mistakes and we're never going to have emotional reactions to things because we're so healed. And that's not going to be the case. And I actually just genuinely don't think that should be your goal. I don't think perfection is the goal that we want to have. I don't think that getting to an end point is the goal, because there isn't going to be an end point in your growth. There isn't going to be an end point in the journey that you're on. And so to expect that of yourself, or more so to expect that of other people, is really unrealistic and extremely unhealthy. You will never be finished, right? You shouldn't want to be. I don't want to be finished. I want to be 89 years old and learning new things and discovering things about myself and having crazy, wonderful connections with people. And so that needs to be your goal. Your goal needs to be always wanting to understand yourself more, because you're never going to be finished with that work, because you're going to grow and change. The person I am now is not the person I'm going to be in 20 years. And in 20 years, I'm going to have to still get to know that woman. And that's important work. And so I just want you to forgive yourself when you make mistakes, take accountability for what you're doing, understand that you are on a journey, you are working towards something, and it's so, so worthwhile. But to give yourself space when you do make mistakes, and understand that you're never going to be perfect. All right, my lovely humans, that is what I have for you this week. Let me know in the comments down below times that you've made terrible mistakes and how you move forward from that. As always, I'm so grateful you're watching to the end. Please like this video if you liked it. Please hit subscribe. I'm super close to like 200 subscribers, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if 200 people sat in this room trying to listen to me talk, I would probably cry. So that's good for me. I will link my blog post down below. I will link my Instagram down below. Hit me up on Instagram. If you're not super weird, slide into those DMs. And if you are super weird, I'm gonna block you. So anyways, that's what I have for you this week, and I will catch you in the next one.